I shall make my oration to the nation, especially for you, tonight, right here on a Friday night, as opposed to a Sunday, because I thought we should chat. As a matter of fact, I just couldn't wait. Could you, all handful of you? Today I want you to do a little exercise. I want you to imagine your favourite place in the whole world. The place you're most comfortable in. Not necessarily a place you went on holiday and that's idyllic. I'm talking about the place you spend a lot of time in, on, that's important, that word on, a lot of your life, your little hidey hole if you like, where you put your feet up. I want you to imagine that place. I said on, because I'm talking about on the ground. Now you might, if you're like me, be fond of the aulaba, as we say in Ireland, the bed. A lot. And sometimes I used to take to it, but that's another story. And I'm sure some of you did as well. We should talk about that sometime. But no, let's bring it right back here. Where are you most comfortable in the world? Where is, like a lot of us, the place you feel really comfortable is perhaps in front of the television. I have a theory, I remember reading about it before. When a man becomes around the age of 40, he tends to have his own chair. And that certainly happened for me. In middle age, I got my own chair. 20s, 30s, you're generally huddled up with your partner. Now, you still might do a little bit of that, and that's fair enough. But in life, you see, there's kind of the courting phase, the early marriage stage, the mid-marriage stage. And a lot of them involves you coupling up on the couch. If you're lucky, you get your head scratched if you're a bloke, and you get a cuddle or whatever, right? I'm not going to go all gushy on you. I'm just saying then children come along and you've got a whole new world to deal with. And eventually the kids start jumping on your wife, whatever. There's no space on the couch. And you might just need a bit of space. So you find yourself wherever. Spot in the garden, you might read a book or have one of those little pit fires. Where is it? So for me, I suppose it is a chair I have. It's a special leather chair. Got it a few years back. Cost a few bob it did. But it's become my chair. And this is where I hang out. Now, up until quite recently, it was where I used to guzzle my glasses of wine. But I've gone, totally off the stuff. And it's brilliant. It's like a whole new lease of life. I just said to my wife one day, I said, I am fed up of like 3 times a week we'd have drink. Guzzling that red for the sake of it. 1 or 2 glasses fine. Anything past 2, I always think you're on dodgy, sleepy territory. I'm changing the subject. So I'm in front of the television, and perhaps so are you. Anyway, hopefully you've arrived at the spot that you're most comfortable at. Now I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine if you've ever heard of The Time Machine by H.G. or H.G. Wells. You remember, if you ever saw the movie, suddenly everything goes back in time and time and time and time and time to a time perhaps of dinosaurs. So like, I'm sitting on my spot and I'm thinking, what exactly was here? Say even just during the Second World War, 80 years ago, thereabouts. I mean, who was here? Presumably someone, I don't think there was a building there, but people passed through this area I'm now sitting in. And there's been a strata of people, right, throughout centuries. And beasts. And maybe battles have been fought there. God, if you could see it, you wouldn't want to be looking at your television. It would be a great movie. There'd be natural history in it. There'd be ancient history in it. There would be medieval history, perhaps. It's a spot on Earth, generally occupied by your buttocks, and suddenly you're watching this time machine going all the way back. Think about it. Someone might have been stabbing somebody there back in the medieval battles, fiefdoms. Someone might have been making love there. Someone might have conceived there. Someone might have given birth there. Someone might have just kicked a piece of dog shit there. But if you're going back in your mind, you're saying, right, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about way, 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 way back. Now I want you to do the same thing, but I want you to go way, 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 way warp speed forward. What do you think is going to be on that spot many years from now? Will it still be around? Will the planet have been hit by something? Will we have nuked ourselves finally? And it's just a piece of radioactive waste ground. I hope not. I'm sure you agree with me. The point I'm trying to make is, in my roundabout way, is no matter what troubles you are having at the moment, I don't know what your grief is. Perhaps you're ill. Perhaps your health has been compromised. Perhaps you're up to your neck in debt. Maybe, and the ones I always hate is if there's a row on. We don't have many rows. We don't. But I hate when we do, because I need to be loved by the most important person in my life. And if I've pissed her off, I just don't feel good. I want to be accepted. And you could say, oh, you're only a weakling. No. I'm in a good relationship and I want to keep it that way. But it's a little drama, isn't it? That can be played out on the spot I was just telling you about. It could be a really happy time. We're looking across at each other and we're laughing at something on television. Or we're sharing a joke. On this spot, you've gone all the way back. Events have happened. You're projecting all the way in the future. Events are going to happen. People are going to come and go. Robots will probably come and go. Who knows? But the point I'm making is, all these kitchen sink dramas that are important to you right now, someday are really going to be about as important to you as whatever happened on that scene in 1106, or is going to happen in 2057. You are going to be gone. Your little time of sitting and enjoying that spot is going to be history. So what I would say is get things in perspective. We're only passing through, amigo. And you're a good person. Be the best that you can be. Because we're only passing through, amigo. Used to be a guy would come into a shop that I worked in years ago when I was was I out of my teens? Probably, no, I was probably in my late teens, very early, maybe 20. And this guy used to come into the shop and he was a bit of an oddball. I think he was quite a poetic type. Maybe fancied himself as one, but certainly was not of the kind of sphere I moved in. He could be maybe 10, 15 years older than us. And he was cookie. Now, I do remember him saying, we're only passing through, amigo. I am going off on a tangent here, but I just want to say something. So, one night, he was invited to a party that all us young, bright things were having. I didn't invite him, but I know who did invite him. God rest him. And it wasn't for the love of this guy that he was invited. He was invited, essentially, to be a figure of fun, to be laughed at. And at one point, when people were off their heads, snogging the hell out of each other, drinking, I could see this unfortunate that had showed up in a corner by himself and trying to be with it, but essentially totally out of it. So I went over to him and I grabbed him by the back of the head and I rammed my tongue right down his throat. I didn't. I just remember feeling nobody should be made a laugh of like that. Everybody has dignity. And I don't know, he might have shuffled out that night somewhere and just got wished the ground would swallow him. But I remember thinking, you invited this. I'm thinking of someone who's actually a good bloke, but you invited this guy to laugh at. It was a tangent, but again, the man said we're only passing through, amigo. I'm sure he was wishing to hell he'd passed through really quick that night to a party he didn't feel 100% comfortable at. And why should he, when he was just brought there to be mocked? So when you're on your little piece of ground tonight, hopefully you might be fortifying yourself with a nice little drink or whatever, looking at Paddy Keelty, God forbid, or whatever it is, Graham Norton. Just think to yourself, I'm only passing through, amigo, and whatever my grief is, whatever these turmoils are, I might as well laugh 'em as cry 'em, because my ass is going to be about as important as what happened here 5,000 years ago or 5,000 years and many more into the future. Does that make sense? I hope so. Thanks, Sue, by the way, for giving me a shout. As you can as well. Remember, email thismuchistrue@protonmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Like and subscribe as well. thismuchistrue@protonmail.com. Right, I think I shall press my button, and I'm going to leave you with this for no other reason than I love the fucking horn section in it, if you pardon the expression. Bye.
Social world. You got to go get passion. Here's an oyster without a pearl. You got to go get passion. It's all over to be some time. In Las Vegas. If you got the nerve, you got to go get passion. There's a better way than this social world. You got to go get passion. Here's an oyster without a pearl. You got to go get passion. It's all over to be some time. Open bands and mountain dance should open up our hearts. But the animals going too bad too. You don't know what to do. I'm terrified that me and you get lost in this jungle. Lost in the jungle. Social world. You got to go get passion. Here's an oyster without a pearl. You got to go get passion.